really badass.
Isn't that awesome?
I was jamming out. Yeah.
Nathaniel did such a good job with that. Yeah. Like, I was so excited to use it. I was like, yay!
Round of applause for the that. Yeah, that was pretty badass.
Yay, Nathaniel. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, and welcome to Explain Like I'm 5. This is a show where we get members of the community to come on and talk about anything but atheism, although if it happens, it happens. Right. So, not terribly concerned
Sometimes
about that.
It pops out.
Yeah. At some point, it's gonna come up. Like it always does, but it's okay. With me today, I have the fantastic Christy Santiago. Christy, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, actually. I am sharing out this link to get as many
reading my chat. I love it
as possible, and saying hi to people in chat. Made sure that my volume was down because I learned the hard way. When shows start, my volume's up on my phone. It makes for really bad video creator.
Yeah, I always try and be in the chat like on my phone while we're doing stuff so I can like add stuff, and then it's all like all of a sudden I hear my own voice and I'm just like, well, shit. So
hey, I'm trying. I'm doing excellent today. I had a really good show last night with Mac.
It was.
And it was it gave me hope, because there are nations on this very planet we reside on that are doing things right, and they understand that the purpose of a government is to protect and make sure that all of their citizens get their needs met and prosper. Like,
yeah, who would have thunk that, society would be okay with having people who are not in poverty and unhoused and not able to access healthcare.
New numbers right before COVID. I found these numbers out today. I sent a video over to you. It's fairly short. Give it a watch today. There are 600,000 homeless people in America before COVID. There are 17 million empty homes. Give that a thunk real quick.
Yeah, I actually watched most of it, and then I got distracted by cleaning because ADHD.
I gotcha. I understand.
But it's like, it's just so, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand how we as a society can be okay with people not like being unhoused and like I said, like poverty, all that shit. I don't know how people can be okay with that, because it's just not not ideals that I have.
Right.
Like,
and this,
I'm concerned about people.
Had these ideas before I left magical thinking. We won't say the A word. Before I left magical thinking, as a child, I didn't understand why at the very wealthy church we went to, that there were families that their kids literally had to cut the toes off of their shoes, so because their toes grew too fast and they couldn't afford shoes. But yet that same family is giving their 10% to that church. Like, as a child, I saw this and thought, well, it's the pastor's job then, if it's his flock, to make sure that every child in his flock has proper shoes on. And you could call me a dirty commie all you want. I think every human deserves shoes.
Yeah.
Basic stuff.
Just, stuff like that, I don't get that. Yeah, Maya makes a good point. We're trained to worship the rich and demonize the not rich.
We are.
It's very true.
They did a history books will be written about the time, not just that we're going through now, but how the ruling class, we'll call it, how they were able to see other nations prospering by prospering, by using the taxes that they gain to go back to the people and saying, hey, listen, where do we get our food from? Because if that country doesn't like something we do, they could cut us off. So let's grow our own food. And when countries start doing things like that, well, now they're a dirty dictator. We have to go in and take them down. So history is going to show how this happened, how we can now read how Hitler, how he was able to. I mean, it's fascinating to me how he was able to get people, good people that would never hurt anyone, to go to someone they don't know and put a bullet in their head.
Yeah.
Well, America has been able to do it without putting bullets in any Americans, not any, I wouldn't say, of our heads, but they studied it, and they're masters of this Orwellian. I don't know how else to describe it. Good is bad, up is down. You know, everything's messed up. The word socialism to people in my very own family, to them means you sit at home and the government does everything for you. That's what they think it means.
Yeah, like there's such a disconnect between like the actual definition and the actual ideas behind socialism and how it's just been used as a scare tactic.
Yes, or communism. Communism to people in my family means authoritarianism. They don't understand that. But when I ask them, because I've learned never to throw facts because it doesn't work, they double down. So I just ask questions. Well, what does communism mean to you? Well, it means that there's a dictator at the top who tells everybody what job they're going to have, and they don't get paid. They just get a house to live in, and they have to stand in lines to get their food. And I'm like, you're talking about an authoritarian dictator. That's not the definition. Communism, first of all, there would be no leader. There would be nobody at the top telling anyone what to do. So the minute you mention a leader, we're not in communism at all. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't community leaders in communism, because there are. Every community has votes. And if you guys want to know some really awesome information about how that's actually working out in Cuba, Cuba is redoing everything. I mean, they have big, huge meets where every city, every town, every village has these meetings that go on for a week, and they write things that they live through once a year, what they lived through the year that they would like to change, some things they'd like to get better, and they all talk about it, and they all write them down, and then they limit that list down to so many, because obviously we can't do everything. Yeah. And then on those, they vote, and then they fucking do them. Sorry about the cuss word, but it is important.
Oh, it's fine. We're not monetized. So.
Okay. Same with LEAH. And then they do them. Then they make them happen. That's direct democracy in a leaning I mean, it's not even the full definition of communism. They have bits of socialism, bits of way more. Cuba has way more democracy than America has ever had in any state alone. At this point, right now, they have more democracy than we have ever known. And that's because they listen to the people. Now, that's hard for people here in America to hear, because, you know, they're scary, and they want to what? They're this big. What do they want to do? What are they going to do? So why we put sanctions on them is because they said, you're making us grow all this sugar. You're making us grow all of these 2 or 3 crops. It's ruining our soil, and it's for sale for other places. We need to use that for us. So they did. Well, that didn't work. So we've been at war with them since they decided to take care of their own people. And Viva la Cuba. I just, they're trying to do it the most honest way, the most fair way. There's not even the poorest person in Cuba has the most beautiful teeth, because dentistry, vision, and medical is part of being a human in Cuba.
Yeah, they're just taken care of.
Yeah.
It's not viewed as a luxury. It's
right.
viewed as basic human rights.
Right.
And I like that's how it should be everywhere. Like healthcare isn't a privilege.
It's
like plain and simple.
Well, we have these things called insurance companies, and the purpose of an insurance company is profit. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They offer nothing else for any human except for profit for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If we eliminate them out of the situation, then we're dealing with just the doctors and the nurses. And that's how all other modern countries have done it. So that, in America, there's over 300 million people. We'll say 330 million people. That's a lot to go to a drug company with and say, listen, you want 330 new sales for selling your drug? Yeah, you do, don't you? I know you do. Well, we're going to negotiate this price, because if you don't come down to where all of us agree, we'll go somewhere else. Now, insurance companies are never going to do that.
Oh, and no.
They're going to help it get more so that they can get that kickback.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever someone says, well, I have a good insurance company, there's no such thing as a moral empire, and there's no such thing as a good insurance company.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. There are some that are better than others. That's true. Biden is better than Trump.
Yeah.
The bar's so low.
Yeah, the bar is so low, it's in hell at this point. Like, and I'm someone who, I will show this right here. I'm a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
So this is Humalog. It's a fast-acting insulin that is required in order to make the stuff that you eat into energy for your cells, because my body does not make it.
Right.
Yeah, that insulin without insurance would cost about $600.
Right.
Because like Sanofi and Lilly, and like Eli Lilly and stuff, the ones who actually make the insulin, they have made it in such a way that they can charge so much, and they don't give a shit.
Nope.
They don't give a shit about people who, like, there's a guy, Alex Smith, who died because he couldn't afford his insulin. I almost went into a coma 7 years ago because I couldn't afford my insulin.
It's immoral.
Yeah.
It's vile, and it makes my stomach sick. And any leader who accepts this as the way it is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And those seem like big words, and I mean every single one of them, because when asked about these things, like public housing, how do I feel about public housing? I think we should build public housing that is good enough for you to put your mother in.
And there's such a stigma with the idea of public housing, because they did it on purpose, because they redlined the shit out of metropolitan areas.
The history of the housing situation is massively immoral. Yes, it is.
There's a really great book that I haven't finished reading, but it's called The Color of Law, that is about the history of redlining. Let me see if I don't know if I have like a direct link for it. Let me see if I can find a Powell's link, because I'm not big on. I actually have made it a point this Christmas to not buy anything from Amazon, which I'm very proud of myself. It's all local stuff.
For you. Yeah, I saw that with your Christmas shopping. I think that's just wonderful. My heart was like patting for you. I love it. I love it.
And I'm very excited for what Nathaniel's getting, but I'm not telling y'all because I think he's watching. So no, y'all don't get to know what he'll
find out. Yes.
But yeah, there's still the author talks about how there's still restrictive covenants. Like they had restrictive covenants that were installed whenever they were, building suburbs, and like that's still a thing.
Yes, it is. Very much.
I'm 99% sure that's still a thing here in Portland.
Right. And to hear the President of the United States tell 10,000 people in an arena, I won't let low-income housing, not affordable housing, low-income housing in your area, because what's that come with? Well, it comes with brown people.
Of course.
And Black people, and immigrants, and poor people, because it's low income. However, if we took that thinking and flipped it on its head and un-Orwellianed it, and instead of called it low-income housing, called it affordable housing, and I think all housing should be affordable, not just here or there. Every single house, apartment should be affordable. And the way that I think that is when you talk to any economist, a good one, they will tell you that your rent or your mortgage should be between 20 and 30% of your total income for the month. Well, that's impossible. Ours is like 80%.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So that's impossible. Yeah. I think it should, everywhere you go, whether you're buying a home or renting, they take in what you make, and then they take that 30% and say, this is what your rent is going to be. And then if you don't get a raise each year, rent's going to go up each year. You're not going to be able to afford it. So there's all these kinds of problems. So we have a president saying that we're not going to put these, and I'm just going to say it, I won't let them put brown criminals in your nice white neighborhoods, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
We're looking at it wrong. If we want to end that separation, if we want to make people feel included and be a part of this America, then we put affordable housing that's good enough for your mother, the ruling class's mothers. Where would they put their mother? And I'm not talking about opulence. I'm not talking about, an elevator to your second floor. I'm talking about a nice house that's well insulated, that has brand new windows, that has nice, your refrigerator's brand new. The walls don't have that chalk paint. That a nice place that you would want to move into. There's nothing wrong with making people who are barely getting by, when they walk into their home, I feel like part of I'm part of this. I have a nice home to come home to, and it's in a nice area. Now that, to me, is a lot like what Finland is doing. Finland made it illegal for private schools. There are no private schools in Finland, period. And at first, it kind of took my breath away, because I have a lot of family that would be like, you're not taking my freedoms, I just totally freak out. But their reasoning was that if all schools, first of all, they traveled the world and looked at how public school was done, which is very smart to do Oppo research. And what they found was, here in America, we fund our schools by property taxes. So the area that people live in is going to show you what kind of school you're going to get. An area where houses are all, 800,000 and up is going to have a wonderful high school and middle school and elementary school. In a lower income area where people can't even pay property taxes, they're not even going to have enough teachers or desks or textbooks. People are going to have to share textbooks. You know, this is not okay. So Finland said, hails to the no on that. What they did was they collected property taxes for the entire nation and then separated it equally to the penny for every single school. Right.
Nice.
Right. So, and the reasoning was if Billy, whose dad inherited his dad's conglomerate, very wealthy, old money, has to go to school with Tommy, whose dad has had a hard time, maybe even had addiction, has lost many jobs, but they're friends. They grew up together. Now this guy grows up and he has to hire people and be nice to them. He went to school with them. He's going to be less likely to fuck that person over because he went to school with them. Now, that's not a blanket statement. There's still going to be assholes and asshats. However, it's worked. It's worked. And they're showing data coming out of it of kids feeling like not less than, because they have the same exact iPad that the wealth Tommy has that Jimmy wouldn't have had. Everybody has the same thing. Their backpacks are paid for by the school. You know, everything is paid for by the school. Your uniforms are paid for by the school. So I think that if you treat the children equal, and I know that there are anti-leftists who say you want equal outcome. I'm not talking about that. I just need to caveat that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about equal opportunity to be treated as you are just as worth.
Kidding.
You have as much worth. This is Delilah, my soulmate.
Delilah, you're so chunky.
I sing her a song, and her song is, "Hey there, Delilah, what's it like to be a kitty?"
Oh my god. Now I really, really wish that my cat was in here because I'd be all like, "Is my kitty?" But she's usually here. Chonker.
She's chunkers. I have her, and we rescued her. Actually, my daughter set her on my chest while I was sleeping, and I went to pet the cat that we did own named Crash, and I said, "Hi, Crash." It didn't feel like Crash. It was way color, and it had these big green eyes, not orange eyes, and I fell in love with her. She was 5 months old, and she was pregnant, and so she had one kitten, just one, and we named her Monkey, and she lives with us. We couldn't separate them. I have so many pictures of them. It's disgusting how much they love each other. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, you guys get past the awe and getting gross now, because if you love each other anymore, like, the world might fall apart.
But I like to think that if they were separated, then they would have never known that world destroying love.
I know, or me. I would have never been able to have that joy in my life of a kitty.
Oh, I know. You're a kitty. Have you seen that XKCD comic that's basically like, the closer you get to a cat, the more inane your comments are? So, like, you know, vicinity to cat, inanity of comments.
That's funny.
And there's this drawing of a guy next to a cat, and he's all like, "You're a kitty!"
Hey, look,
that's what I said to my cat all
can
the
just
time.
pull these off real quick.
Yes. Yes. I was half expecting you to wear those.
I really they match my shirt. I kind of like it.
Amazing.
I do have kitty cat headbands. I have probably 11 or 12 of them. I like them a lot.
I have so much like cat related stuff. I used to have like a cat dress like that had cats all over it that I got on Amazon, and then it shrank and I was like, ah. But I had like I used to have cat butt magnets. I used to like
cat butts are so funny.
I know. I want the cookie cutter. It's got like the little masters on the butt. I want that so much. I'm gonna like put it on a wish list so I don't forget about it. That's what I need to do.
So funny. And then because I'm inappropriate, as Stacy, my partner, takes a bite of the cat butt, I lean over and be like, "How that ass taste?"
Would she spit out the cookie?
Stacy would probably outdo me and embarrass me instead. So, yeah, she's definitely good about that. Now, if she did that to me, I would probably have cookie everywhere. See this sweat stash? I'm gonna grab my fan.
Okay.
It's not a good look for anyone. We live in Florida, so we have battery-operated fans because hurricanes like to visit us.
Yeah, I'm originally from Corpus Christi, so I'm from South Texas.
Yes.
So it's like I understand that on a deep spiritual level.
On a deep spiritual level.
I really do.
We have boxes of candles. So there are a lot. We live in Tampa, so it's very, very Spanish, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Ecuador, Colombia, just South America is here. It's a little tiny Spanish, mixed in. It's wonderful. However, they have their holidays that I don't celebrate. And when their holidays come, they have candles that they put out to sell at all the stores with their saints and Virgin Marys and yes, exactly. Well,
I mean, Chewbacca, but
boxes of Jesus candles because we could get them for like 15 cents, and hurricanes don't care what's on your candle. So
they sold those at the grocery store
candles right here.
Now I kind of where I got this is a company called Illuminidol.
I love it.
And he does like all sorts of like nerdy idol candles. They're amazing. Like they have a Selena one that I really, really want.
Interesting.
Because like she's from Corpus, so she's like hometown hero. There's a statue of Selena downtown. So it's just like,
yes,
I need this candle. So bad. I need this candle.
I would like it in her name.
I started watching the Netflix series based on Selena.
I saw that and put it in my to watch. So let me know.
Some of it, I mean, a lot of it is nostalgia based because some of it actually was filmed in Corpus because I can recognize stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is great. But others of it, just a cattail.
Yep.
Others of it, not so much. Like it's not.
Corpus Christi. I've been there twice. Once was driving through it, and the other time was driving back through it.
Yeah.
I was going to visit an Air Force base in Texas from Florida. So, and I didn't have cell phones then. This was in 1994, 93, 94. Yeah. Long time ago. But I did pick up at one of the rest stop gas stations the Texas gosh the Texas book. I picked it up and then I read it. And me in the back seat, I had to keep my mind occupied. I can't just sit there. And I learned quite a bit about Corpus Christi. It has a very long history, and I can't remember exactly the reason why it was named that, but it even has like a whole story for its name. of Corpus Christi.
Yeah, I can't remember for the life of me because I know obviously it means body of Christ, and I think it had something to do with the Feast of Corpus Christi or something. I have no idea because I know that's a thing.
The Feast of Christi?
Feast of Corpus Christi, yeah. You just don't like, we're just going to eliminate that corpus.
Are people feasting on me or am I feasting?
You're feasting.
Okay, I'll look
up. Brand new holiday that's like an offshoot.
I might have showed up the other way too. I'm just putting it out there.
It's like, it's cool. This is how it's gonna be.
Listen, everybody's equal except for if you want to feast on me, I guess. What am I gonna do? Give the people what they want.
Oh, I love it. I feel like going back to like the very serious like socialism topic now. It's just like it's not sort of like
socialism is one of my favorite topics to talk about. But I'm normally on the asking questions side and being able to pull up when they give me their answer, which is everything I have in my body to not make this face. Huh?
I feel like your face might get the best of you sometimes.
I do not have a poker face. I mean, not at all. So I've learned to do this, like I bite down right here and kind of smile as I'm looking for the source so I can show them if they're open to it. I'm not like running down the street, let me show you this. If they're actually
have you heard the good news of socialism?
Knocking on doors. Have you heard the good news?
Oh my god, that's like socialist missionaries. Now I want to make a shirt.
Yeah, right?
Socialist missionary, or like has one of those Mormon name tags.
There's a lot of Mormons here, and a couple of them I talk to often. They have knocked on my door plenty of times to ask for a glass of water because they know that they can stop and get water here, that it's safe. And we always talk. I always ask questions. And the last time, because it's an elder with someone who's out doing their 18 months or 22 months, and that elder's there to make sure that this one doesn't get asked anything or get any seeds put in that could be watered. So as I gave water to the older one, I had my dog in my arms and he was looking at my dog. And so I was able to ask him a couple questions. And next time he rode his bike by, they ride their bikes around. He said, I've been thinking about that. And to be honest, I don't have an answer for you yet. And I've asked people that are above me and would know, and I can't get a clear answer. So I'm hoping that one little tiny thing that he cannot get a clear answer for will make him think, well, why do they say they know it then? So
yeah, like if you don't have a reason for the belief, then I mean, there's a podcast that I'm a really big fan of called How to Heretic, that they're a bunch of ex-Mormons, and they brought on a while back, this is probably, oh gosh, when was I listening to that? This is like at least a few months ago, where they brought on a couple of current missionaries who were atheists, but they were in the middle of their mission. So they couldn't, like, unless there was some super extenuating circumstance, they couldn't leave. So they were stuck there. Like, one of them was just all like, I'm an atheist. I don't know what my mission partner is going to think. Like, I don't know what they're going to say. And then one day he's just all like, okay, man, I'm an atheist. And the other one's all like, hey, me too.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was a really good one.
I bet they were like, okay, so let's talk.
Yeah, there was a lot of relief. A lot of relief in that conversation.
If we want to go to the more serious socialism conversation, I feel like the best way, or how should I say this? The way that I've had the most success has been to, besides ask questions, is, oh my gosh, I was online looking up worker co-ops, just interested, just wanted to know, and went to Italy. Well, Italy is known in northern Italy for having the biggest worker co-ops on the planet. And everybody's an owner. They are retiring with like $44 million in their bank account.
Jeez.
Right. That's socialism.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they move you around in different areas. So, let's say you're turning 50 and your wrists are starting to hurt, from whatever you were doing, because they have healthcare there, and you just go when you're supposed to go. And if you need a specialist, you just go to the specialist. And the specialist said, we really don't want you to keep doing this anymore. So they take you and they give you a test, and you fill it all out about things that you're good about. And they do this often, not just if you're hurting or getting older, because sometimes you might be better at something else and they missed it. They want to put you in a spot where you'll be able to do your best, but also be proud of what you're doing. So older people can, instead of coming in 4 days a week, they work 4 days a week, by the way. Instead of coming in 4 days a week, they say, why don't you come in 3? You do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And we're going to put you over here in this department. And pretty much what they do is they give tours, or something different. The same pay, everybody gets a raise, and their boss, the CEO they call him something else. The CEO will call him, because it is a him at this particular place in Italy. I wish I could remember the name. They hire him once a year. It's mandatory for everybody who works in these worker co-ops to show up and talk about raises and talk about health benefits and talk about what they would like to innovate. And they have some of the best science innovation buildings on the planet as far as how to make the best washing machines. And companies like Whirlpool and other big capitalists, they send their scientists there to learn how to do it. Right. I can send you the information so you can read it or watch it. I can even send it to you. Professor Richard Wolff goes over this entire process, how he went to Italy, and how, he just couldn't believe that these people have a say. If they all vote that CEO is not a good boss, he's fired, and they hire a new boss. He's not allowed to fire anyone. Nobody up top. There's no hierarchy. The people decide who the leader is, and they can change that at any time. And if the leader, we'll call it the CEO, decides that person wants a raise, like worked really hard, I'm going to give myself a 12% raise. He's not allowed to unless the people at the very bottom get that same amount of raise of theirs, period. So it can be done. It has been done. And I get this saying every time I have a conversation about different economic systems, because honestly, capitalism and socialism and communism, they're just economic systems is what they are. So putting authoritarianism in it makes it no longer that. And that's how they were able to fool us. Okay, so every time I bring these up, I get it every time. I get it from my neighbor upstairs. I get it from everyone. Socialism's never worked, though. Communism's never worked, though. That's when I'm like, okay, let me go get let me show you of where it's been working and still is working right now. And I'm not unrealistic. I know in my lifetime this nation will never be socialist. But I am hoping and doing the work to see in my lifetime this country become more of a mixed economy, because that's how we're going to get there. Tiny steps, progress, a little bit of progress, more.
Yeah, the incrementalism of it.
Yes, I get it. And if people see that these policies that are for the people work, then they're going to go, don't take them away from me. Do you remember when Obama was president and people were outside the White House with signs telling the government to stay off their Medicare? Like the irony in that.
Yes.
I can't. Like, I almost peed my pants standing in front of the TV. I was like, wait, do they don't understand? Oh goodness.
I feel like conservatives and what has sort of dominated, the term conservative is what Nathaniel often calls the alt-white, which is super fitting.
Yes, it's kind of fun too.
They
what?
use it all as a dog whistle.
Yes, they do.
Like they count on people not necessarily not being willing, because I think once you're able to sort of, sit someone down and they have the mindset of getting there, like but some of them, a lot of them, don't necessarily have the resources that are necessary in order to understand this. And that sort of goes back to a lot of stuff having to do with, education, and a lot of times the people who are poor, that's I think that's why a lot of poor people and low income people are so supportive of conservatives and their grifts.
Oh, a grift.
Yeah, they don't have the resources necessary to understand that they're just being taken advantage of.
Right.
Like they're being used as pawns.
Was not. I say this all the time. I want a t-shirt that says this. I have to have it made. Somebody make me a t-shirt that says education is the inoculation for ignorance.
Oh, that's good.
Because it's true. If we did like Finland, where all education is the same, like it's not like over here in Texas, Moses was a real person and helped the founding fathers write our documents. And then over here in California, evolution is actually how we got here, because that's what the science shows. It's just different everywhere. If we made education how it should be, a fact is a fact is a fact. There's no alternative facts. You can question facts, always question facts. Always question them. Try to debunk them. But once you cannot, you have to accept it. So I think education is the inoculation for ignorance. And when Trump said, I love poorly educated people, it says everything. It says everything. They count on people who listen to one or two news information sites or radio shows, and that's it. And they take their word as gospel. So when they say in Michigan there's no go zones because of Muslims, they believe that.
Yeah.
So how do you, that's my question, and that I ask myself nearly every single day, more than once. How am I? How are you? How are we as people who want to inform other humans who are deserving? If you voted for Trump and believe in Trump, to me, you're a victim. And I love you. and you haven't done anything wrong. The system fucked you. The system fucked you. And I understand you don't believe that, but I still love you, and I still feel like you deserve the education. There's going to be a lot of people that will refuse that education. So how do we, as a community of people, maybe we could even start working on trying to, I mean, I write emails to my senator all the time. They're probably like, oh my God, her again.
Not her.
And when the post office was having problems with money, just went and bought a whole bunch of stamps, and then instead of emailing my senator, I wrote him letters. So
Nice.
I helped the post office and at the same time. I was
like, you answered. It worked. Perfect. Yeah.
But yes, I think that we need to get together and help inform people. If I'm having a conversation with a human whose facts don't exist in reality, how can we have an honest conversation?
Mm-hmm.
We can't.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. But I want to tell you guys, that's not a bug in the feature. That's the feature. That's on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
On purpose. And you can blame a guy named Roger Ailes. Had a big, huge part of that. He said we need a TV station, a news station that tells our point of view, how we see it and want it. Because in the 50s and 60s, now all of a sudden we have integration. Now we have those darn brown people are going to school with our beautiful white children.
Oh,
no. They're getting the same education as our children. So, like LEAH Atwater, you know who LEAH Atwater is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. So then he started using let's stop forced busing. If we can't legally segregate them, that's right when they changed the laws for how property taxes and paying for schools. And
it's just de facto segregation now.
And before we made segregation a thing, the state just funded the schools equally.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then they were like, wait.
We don't want this anymore.
The school that has the most brown and black kids in, let's fund them less. Let's use property taxes. And there's a lot more to it. That was just like kind of the smallest nutshell of how that worked. The education is going to be the thing. I don't know how we're going to ever become a country that sees our government as an entity that we put there that works for us, until the education is equal, until the education across the nation teaches facts and the facts about government, that if all of the people, like 82% of left-leaning Democrats want Medicare for all, and 67% of Republicans want Medicare for all. That's the majority of the country.
Yeah.
The insurance companies don't, so we'll never get it. So we've got to figure out why. Well, I can tell you. Citizens United has a big part of that. And what happened was they started chipping away at the New Deal that was put in under FDR. And once they got it to a point where they could slam that, they even named it Citizens United. How Orwellian is that? Right. What citizens are united about this? It's corporations united against people. Right. So, and corporations are writing our bills. They are helping to put the wording into the bills against the people. And we have the biggest fight ahead of us. It's unfortunately and fortunately, I have to say that I'm very fortunate that I was born where I was born, because the GPS location of your mother's vagina on the day you were born does not make you superior to anyone else. It just doesn't. It just has nothing. You did not achieve a thing. You were just born. Right. So I see it like that. So every human to me is me. they're me. I put myself in their shoes. So I was very fortunate to be born where I was born. But because I was born where I was born, it is my responsibility to understand that I live in an empire, and not just an empire, the wealthiest, biggest, scariest military empire in the history of everdom. And since I believe with every fiber of my body that there is no such thing as a moral empire, it's my responsibility to help inform people, at least bits at a time. It's overwhelming. I can't sleep sometimes. I get depressed. It's overwhelming.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of willful ignorance on the severity of a lot of things.
Yes.
Because it's so much easier to sort of live in this
bubble.
Yeah, like live in this sort of just this bubble, this little shelter where you're not forced to think about, you know, stuff that's
hard stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff that's just the stuff that's hard to have conversations about.
Yeah.
The stuff that makes for
Well, if you think about it and it's wrong, a rational mind goes, well, God, now that I've thought about it and it's wrong, I've got to start thinking about. So if you just don't do that, then there's no problem. Yeah. And that tribalism was help. It's like I said, it's not a bug in the system. It's a feature to separate. You know, there's a song, you gotta keep them separated. Yeah. If any of you guys love Rage Against the Machine, take their music, turn the music part off, and just read the lyrics. And then you'll just be standing with your fist in the air.
Yes. There was something I mentioned in a Twitch stream, like I was in the audience for a Twitch, or in the chat for a Twitch stream, and we were talking about, you know, because it's just like a general like leftist stream sort of thing. And somebody said something about Rage Against the Machine, and I was like, I really, really love when Tom Morello, like somebody tells Tom Morello to stop talking about politics, and he goes, not everybody has an honors degree from Harvard and poli-sci, but I happen to, so I think I can talk about politics. And I'm like, yes! I'm like, I love you, Tom Morello. You're the best.
Yeah. I think that, you know, I don't have any college at all. I became a mom 3 months before my 18th birthday. I became a mom. 5 months pregnant. Her father didn't show up at the wedding. So I was going to be a single mom now, and I worked at Wendy's until the day, like pretty much the day I had her. I walked the 1.5 miles to work and the 1.5 miles home every single day.
Oh my God.
This big until I had her. And my mom is a hardcore, you know, the tough love. Reagan is the best president that God ever gave us. Not that she believes in God anymore, but she still believes in an afterlife. And I'm never going to take that from her. She lost her husband and she talks to him, and it's whatever. She can have that.
Yeah.
However, at 18, she had a new husband, and it was no longer their responsibility. So I was on my own, and it was either a shelter or the street. Pick one, pack your shit and go. So I called a best friend of mine, and their mom answered the phone. And my best friend's mom was like a second mom to me. And after she was done screaming and cussing at my mom to me on the phone, like she was so upset that you have a 5-month-old baby, you know, who's nursing. Like I can't even take her to daycare. She's nursing. Yeah. She brought me to her house. She helped me wean her off. She helped me get a part-time job. She didn't make me pay anything except for my own food so I could save money, and help me get into a program to get an apartment, all the things that my mom should have done that I would have done for my daughter. So if I didn't have her, I think I could have been one of those moms living on the street.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very, very important to me.
Yeah.
I think that every single person is one, not even bad decision, just one decision away from being homeless. Anything could happen. If before COVID, Americans couldn't afford a $400 emergency, what do you think it is now?
Yeah.
And
When there's God knows how many people that have filed for unemployment, like at this point, it's like so many people are furloughed, or they technically have full-time positions, but they're not working full-time.
there
Like,
are lines here, people in cars lined up for 8 hours at churches to get one bag of food.
yeah.
It's
They did that in Dallas too. We were in Dallas before we were in Portland, and it's like you see these photos of this, parking lot full of cars, and it's like this is not what people are saying is going to happen under, socialism and communism. It's happening now.
Bread lines, people. Yeah, capitalism gave it to us every single time. In 1929, we had bread lines. Why? Because capitalism failed us. That's why we got FDR in the 30s and why we got the New Deal, who took care of all of those things. Not all of them, because many of our fellow brothers and sisters who have beautiful brown and black skin or talk different or pray to a different God, they didn't get those benefits that everyone else did under the New Deal. So I do acknowledge that. And I acknowledge that with also having to say, I want people to know that the Summer of Love, 1969, it's historic. The Summer of Love in America, 1969, was also the year that America had the most lynchings. So was it the Summer of Love, or Orwellian bullshit has been going on since the beginning? Because I think that it's more likely the second. Now, I do have hope. I do. I think I'm seeing a lot of people wake up, and not the whole woke thing. No, like actually kind of start, wow, we don't have socialism or anything, and my neighbors can't eat, and my mom needs help, and I don't know how I'm going to pay rent under capitalism. There has to be a better system. So I'm seeing people, regular people, hopefully, instead of going to their church for help or accepting it like this is just the way that it has to be, and I'll take less each hour just to have a job, because that's what is going to happen if we don't do anything, because that's how big capital works. That's what happened with the housing. The housing market crashed and big banks and LLCs swooped in and bought houses all over the country, states they have never even been in. And those houses are still held underneath rent that is, I mean, when those people own the house, their mortgage was like $400 a month. Now the rent is $1,800 a month. So that means the people around them are getting priced out of their neighborhood. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
It's so much to pay attention to. I'm one person. I can only learn so much in a day. I want to share everything with everyone. I wish I could just like push a button on my brain and it would go to all my friends what I learned today. So then they can do that to their friends, and we could just keep learning and learning and learning to do things better, to be more humanist, to look at things through a humanist lens. If someone is hungry, the problem isn't that they're lazy. The problem is that they need food.
Yeah.
If they don't have shoes, the problem isn't that they're lazy and don't have a job. It's that they need shoes. If they don't have a home and they're homeless, it's not that they're a dirty homeless, hobo. It's that they need a home. I also come from a family that believes, well, if you didn't pay for that home, then it's not yours. I get it. I do. That's how we were raised here. I also feel that 17 million homes are empty, and we have 600,000 prior to COVID homeless people. There's no reason. Those empty houses are gaining no money each month. None. That there can't be something worked out where that single mom with 3 kids who works at McDonald's, they take her income and they take 25% of it, and that's going to be what her rent's going to be at this empty home. There's no reason we can't do that. We make the rules. There wouldn't be any without us. We write those. I would run for a local position. I couldn't physically do it. Most people don't know I don't share it a lot. I am physically disabled. And it took a long time. I didn't have insurance. So for 7 years, there would be times I couldn't stand up or walk, and I would go to the hospital. I didn't have insurance, so they would take an x-ray, give me, a prescription of muscle relaxers, and send me home for years. And finally, I lost complete feeling on my right foot, ankle, shin, calf, and no feeling. It was called drop foot. People with diabetes get drop foot. So I would have to kick my leg out to step down so I didn't step on my toes. So when that happened, my partner's dad worked on the neuro floor at the hospital, and he had come over and he was like, "What the hell is wrong with your foot?" He said, "That's drop foot. You need to go right now." He was on the phone with Tampa General at the neuro floor saying who I was, and they admitted me. They finally gave me an MRI. I finally got a diagnosis, and I was told I needed to be on 6 months to a year of bed rest. Okay, but I worked as a hairstylist at a salon where you stand all day long and bend all day long. What am I going to do? How am I going to make it? And without Stacy, I would have been homeless then too. I lost my house because, so all of these things that are happening to me. So it's personal. And it's immoral.
It is.
Sorry.
No. It is entirely immoral. And anybody who tells you that, you just wanting to live and just wanting to have a place to live and have food on the table, anybody who tells you that you're entitled and have this attitude of, anybody who gives you the bootstraps argument, I will fight them, because I hate that argument so much, because it's something that is literally the whole point is that pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is literally impossible.
Right. Do you know the history of that? Do you guys want to laugh? Obviously, I need to laugh. Okay, so the French thought the wealthy, were telling the not so wealthy things that they would say. Imagine, what they would say. And the unwealthy, the poor, said, what do you think we're supposed to do? And the wealthy who were on their side, who represented them and their government, said pull their own selves up with their own bootstraps. It was a joke. It was ironic. You can't need someone else to. If you lift you're just lifting your boot, your butt's still stuck. It was a joke, but it made it here to the U.S. and it became a thing. Orwellian.
It said unironically.
Yeah. Now, losing my house happened in 2013, so we had to get they auctioned it off. There was nothing I could do. I was even in a program to help save the home, to refinance the home, but I wasn't going to be able to work. I literally could not work. I had to relearn how to walk on a foot that I can't feel. So, yeah, I've been through that, and I never want anyone to go through that. And that bootstrap thing, when I mentioned it to my mom, we're trying to have a relationship after many years of not. And when I mentioned that bootstrap thing to her, she said, "It's always worked for me." And so, yeah, she said, "You just got to toughen it up. No one's there for me. I've always had to do it herself." And that's true. My mom is a very she might be one of the strongest women I've ever met. But that doesn't mean that she's not wrong about that. She's very, very wrong about that. During the 80s, when it was cool to be a young Republican, and it was the thing, especially because we had just taken all these regulations that FDR had and just decimated them. So now banks could gamble with money. Money was flowing everywhere. My mom was a part of that. She was a member of the Young Conservatives. She was, so I have a lot of background in that thinking. I remember saying the words to a boyfriend when I was in 11th grade. I think the country should just be ran like a business. Let's just why? If you can run a business and you can cut the fat and you can, I think of that now and I want to smack myself in the face. A country is not a business. It is a country. It is a community of humans that live in a place because they were born there or they moved there. They didn't accomplish anything by that. And the government is not above us. It works for us. And its job is not to cut the fat. It's to use anything extra to benefit the people it represents. And my mind has changed so much on that. And not just because of what I've gone through. I mean, like I said, even as a kid, I thought, if I'm listening to my mom and her friends talk about how the GDP and it's the fastest growing economy and we're the wealthiest nation in the world, why do we have so many homeless and poor people? And why do the Marines have to do toy drives at Christmas for families? And
like, why do food banks even need to exist if everything is supposedly so prosperous?
Right.
Like, if we're doing so well as a country, and look at how much we're producing, but also, like, I watched the video that you sent me, and it's like, look at how much we're throwing away and preventing people from like using and eating and shit.
Those 16 million homes that sit empty because the banks that own them would rather not make anything from them than let somebody live there that they're not going to make something from. That's vile. I mean, it's just vile.
It makes me feel so amazingly gross. Because I admittedly, like, I used to back, because I'm a little younger than you. I graduated high school in 2005. And I remember being a senior in high school, dating my boyfriend that I met at the Baptist church.
Right.
That, like, his parents were, like, George W. Bush stands, basically. Everybody was so conservative. And, like, I glommed onto that way of thinking. And if somebody talks to me now and knows all of my, like, social justice, like, standpoints and stuff, because I'm, like, when it comes to stuff like reproductive justice and stuff, I'm very much like, oh my God, this is my thing.
Yes, same.
This is my thing.
Same here.
But I vividly remember like getting into arguments with people about abortion on like AOL message boards and being so anti-choice at the time.
Yes.
And it's like, now it's like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed by that.
Growing up in my mom's work office, she's always worked for herself or had her own businesses. She had a like the comic strip that from the newspaper, and on this comic strip it has somebody looking up to the clouds in a thought bubble that says, Jesus, where are all the prophets that you promised us? And a thought bubble comes down from the cloud and says, they've all been aborted. That's what I grew up with.
See, I'm very fortunate because my mom became an atheist probably when I was like 7 or 8.
Nice.
I never had, like, my parents were like, you know, yellow dog Democrats, basically.
Nice.
So when I was all like, I'm super conservative, my mom was just all like, what the hell is going on?
Like, remember that time she fell off the sofa? Do you think it was that?
she almost cracked her tailbone once. Do you think that fall jarred her or something? Yeah, no. Oh God, but yeah. Well, we are at just over an hour. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Ooh, camera.
There goes the camera.
Yeah, camera fell. My cat knocked my coffee. She looked at it and was like, no.
She did the cat thing.
Yes. And right here where it fell is the big surge protector with everything plugged into it that connects all of this. So that's why you saw me go, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
A towel. And I can't even be mad at her because all she did was be a cat.
Yeah. So, it's like, God damn it. Okay, you're still cute. So I'm not
is so
too
cute.
mad.
She really is.
Yeah.
I've never ever had I've always had animals. I have 4 cats and a dog. But this one right here, she's my soulmate. I mean, look at us. We're just
look at her little face.
Look at this little face. Her so beautiful. Yeah, she's demanding attention too. Oh wait, she has the smallest paws you will ever see.
She does. And look at her short. My cat's tail is that short. Like my cat's got a short little tail.
Her daughter's tail is like this. It's so short, but it's fat. It's fat and short. I know. Short, and her legs are short too. And she's chubby. So she kind of looks like a corgi. You would totally love her because she's a corgi cat.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
So
makes me so happy.
Let's see. I do actually. Kindness matters. Yeah, it matters. There's not a time when kindness doesn't matter. Now, I understand, say you're in the middle of a protest and cops are spraying you with pepper spray. Of course you need to get out of there.
Yeah.
However, kindness will still matter when you get away if you're okay to help other people. My kindness matters when I say that is in every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. The tiny things, the little things. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a chat with good people that I enjoy spending chat time with, getting into kind of heated argument, and one took something the wrong way, or you don't know what I mean, or you're just ignorant on this. Now, I'm educated enough now. I've spent the last few years doing college myself. Believe that. That's all I do is learn in history, and I really love evolutionary biology, but history is my passion. I just cannot get enough of it. And poli-sci, obviously political. And I'm doing it all on my own, and I'm not paying for it, and just self-learned. And then I heard Noam Chomsky, one of my idols. And not God idols. I don't think anybody's, I wouldn't fangirl in front of him. I mean, I would, but I wouldn't let him see it.
Yeah.
He said the smartest person he ever met in his life never passed the 4th grade. And yeah, and Howard Zinn, he's like if I could come back as anyone in an alternate life, would be Howard Zinn. I just adore him. I think he's one of the most amazing teachers, professors, and historians that this planet has ever had. Please read Howard Zinn's book, A People's History of America, because it's the story of us, but from the people's point of view. The winners write the stories, and Orwellian writes the story. So yeah, read that. And then kindness matters. Be kind no matter what it is. There's nothing wrong with taking an extra second to do the tiniest thing. Like if someone drops something, I watch at the grocery store, people drop stuff and people see it and just go about their business all the time. And I don't want to live in a world like that.
Yeah.
I don't. So I love you guys. I'm sorry. I'm a crybaby.
No, it's
tough right now.
I said to Nathaniel just yesterday, like, he's got such a big heart and you've got such a big heart, and I'm just a giant softie. Like I'm basically a marshmallow. Very few people give as much as of a shit as they should.
I agree.
I
agree.
If more people just gave a shit, then we wouldn't be where we are today.
That's exactly what you just said, is why the worker co-ops were started in northern Italy, was because all these wars were going on and they didn't want any part of it. They wanted people to care about each other and not lose their humanity. So they were going to do things different, and no one was going to be above anybody. And everybody was going to get paid what we all agreed on. And they have it written, you can log on and see what the CEO makes, what everybody makes at every level. And if one person gets a raise, that doesn't happen. That section gets a raise. And the reason why they did that was because they wanted to see kindness and humanity. And they wanted to see everyone thought of as worthy of life. So,
yeah. Well, this has been such an amazing conversation. This was just so good, and I loved it. And there's a bunch of people in the chat who are saying how much they loved this.
So. And I can see it here, and I can see it on my phone.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
And everybody, there's so many people. I love you guys. Maya, I love you guys. And this was awesome. I am so there. I see her, Courtney.
There's Benny. Come here, Benny.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, this is Benny. Hello, Benny. Thank you.
Benny. Look at that beautiful face.
Well, where can we find you? Plug away, shill away. We want to support you in what you do.
I do a humanist podcast every Friday night because I'm a nerd. I spend my Friday night doing a humanist podcast on YouTube. It's called The League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. Now, the word atheist is in there. I do want to make sure that people know that we are atheists for humanism. You don't have to be an atheist to be for humanism, and you are welcome to come. And if your goals are the same as ours, more kindness, more generosity, more fairness, more transparency, these things that we want, fairness for all. We do not want to see babies in cages. There's all the things that are wrong that you want to change, and you don't want to stop being religious. You're welcome at LEAH. I promise you. You're welcome. Because what we need is to not be separated. They need to keep us separated so that we cannot. There are more of us than that. We are 99% people. They are not. They are 0.01%. That we can take that. They don't have the military either. Because if you read the Constitution and all of our founding papers, like I have, also people read the debates that our founding fathers had. They documented their conversations back and forth and their letters. Read them, because some of them were terrified of the mob and they wanted it to be ruled by a very small, and others, like my favorite, Thomas Paine. He's my favorite. I just love his face off. Thomas Paine is a hero. He really is. And read these things because they will give you insight into who these people were, and when you realize the laws and what they hold, the military is represented by the people. It is not to the president. It is not. He is their commander in chief, but for the people. Yeah. So the military is for us. And if there were to ever be any kind of type of coup, it would be really hard to get the military, which is less than 1% of America's population, by the way. Think about that. You know, so these facts really do help. And I would say educate yourself. If you ever have questions, besides Friday Night on LEAH on YouTube, I call it LEAH, League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism. I do have a Twitter. I'm horrible at checking it. I check the DMs every Friday and every Wednesday for LEAH. But I do have Facebook Messenger. I don't really go on Facebook too much, but I post things on Facebook. I just don't really go back on too often. Yeah. Facebook Messenger, because that little bubble pops up with your face. Yeah. I see it immediately, and since I'm like ADD, it's like, ooh, squirrel. Yeah. Immediately, I will
answer this notification.
If you have questions about sources, about where you can learn about this or that, or you just want to talk about these things, or if you want to challenge me, like, hey, you got this wrong, and here's why, please do, because if I'm wrong, I'd rather be right. So I guess I'll leave it with, I love each and every one of you because you're a human, and I see all of you as me, and I would not want me to suffer, because I have a daughter who would hurt if I suffered. And so you guys probably have people who love you and would hurt. And I want the world to be a better place, and I'm willing to do my part to make that happen. And I'm glad you guys are here to do that too. Thank you for this opportunity to share some of my crazy ideas for an American.
I love it. You're not crazy at all. I'm gonna put Stanley
and I can come back anytime you want to talk about anything political. If you ever want to talk about a policy, like just a policy, I am a policy junkie. I read the whole policy.
Nice.
I know. I thought about making a channel of my own where I just open up the policy, and because nobody reads them, and just read them for people so that they can listen while they're in their car or grocery, so that they can know what the fuck is going on in their country. Right. And then at the end, I would end it with who supported it, who voted for it, and who didn't, because that's so important. And so I'm still working on that. That will be a lot of work, but it is something I'm thinking about. If people are interested, Andrew said he would watch that, listen to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So maybe that is something I'll be doing in the future. And until then, I guess I'll end it like I always do before you end yours. Stay and be humanist, for Godless sakes.
godless six. I love it so much. I love it. Well, Christy, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you so much.
I just will hug you right now.
I know. We're like on opposite coasts, but it's just like, oh my God.
I would so hug you long and awkward, like way past awkwardly when you don't know when.
No.
Yeah.
We're not letting go. We're not letting go.
The best awkward hug you've ever had is coming. I promise.
Yay. I love it. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for being here in the chat. Y'all are all wonderful people, and I love each and every one of you very much.
Best Saturday ever.
Y'all can like us on Facebook. Y'all can follow us on Twitter. We're Divine Disbelief pretty much everywhere. We're on Twitch too, which nobody watches, but it's okay. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Divine Disbelief. We have a Discord, which, yes, IQ has linked it. Titan linked it earlier. There's also a link in the description down below. Yeah, that's gonna do it for us. I don't have an outro, so we're just going dark at this.
I was just told to link my Discord if I want.
Oh,
I'm tech illiterate, so I would probably take me about 6 minutes to figure out how to do that. I do have a Discord.
And I linked the LEAH Facebook group.
Yes, and I have a LEAH Facebook group. So, and we reached over 1,000 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's awesome. And also on Facebook, it's just Christy Santiago, as you know me. Easy to find, and then you can DM me, and we can be friends.
Yeah, I love it.
And then we can live in a better place together.
Yes, such a better place. I love it.
Yes, and take care of your animals and love each other. And #kindness matters. God damn it.
Damn it. I love it. All right.